Welcome to the Math 1 Unit 2 Objective 3 Study Guide video. We'll be looking at questions numbers 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, this is the adding and subtracting of polynomials or review section. So when you're doing this, first thing you want to do is identify that you have parentheses. You look to see if there's any exponents on the outside or anything multiplied to the parentheses. In this particular case, we don't, so you can take it at face value as exactly what it is. Okay? When it's addition in the middle, you really don't have to do anything different. You just combine like terms. We have 8x squared plus 1x squared. So 8 plus 1 is 9x squared. Notice how when we're adding, we do not combine the exponents and make 4. You only add exponents when you're multiplying, and here we're adding. So make sure you know the difference. Okay? So here we have negative 3x and negative 6x. Negative 3x plus negative 6x. So we're adding a negative, which is really like subtracting. So you have negative 3x minus 6x, and that gives you negative 9x. Okay? And then lastly, we have our numbers here. We have 17 plus negative 5 plus a minus is really a minus. So you have 17 minus 5, which is positive 12. Okay? Since we have no more like terms, we are done. And that's your final answer for question number 9. Simple as that. Okay? Looking at number 10, okay, we have parentheses. We look, do we have exponents on the outside? Nope. But we do have this little guy, the 7, attached to this parentheses, not this one. Okay? So what we'll need to do is we'll need to distribute him just like you would if you had covered up this 17x squared plus 5x. Okay? And so you'll get positive 7 times positive 2x squared. You'll get positive 14x squared. Positive 7 times positive 3 is positive 21x. Okay? Now, nothing's outside of this one, so it'll just drop down. You get 17x squared plus 5x's. And now we're going to go through and combine our like terms. We have 17x squared plus 14x squared. 17 and 14 make 31. Come on, Pin. We get 31x squared. Notice how we're not adding the x's because we're just adding the terms. You can only add x's or the exponents when you multiply. Okay? 5x's plus 21x's is positive 26x's. Okay? That's your final answer because there's no more like terms. Looking at question number 11, starting to get a little more complicated. See, we have parentheses. We do not have exponents on the outside. However, we have this 6 here and this negative 4 here. So we're going to need to distribute to all the stuff inside their respective parentheses. So the 6 is attached to the first parentheses, so you'll multiply only to the first parentheses. You should get 30x squared minus 10x minus 72. And then in this second parentheses, negative 4 times positive 3 is negative 12x, which most people will get, but this is where most people will go wrong. Negative 4 times negative 6, a negative and a negative make a positive 24. Negative 4 times a positive, a negative times a positive is a negative, and 4 times 9 is 36x squared. So now we go through and combine like terms. And so we didn't really talk about this in the first couple of questions because it was laid out that way, but you always need to do descending order, which is really easy when you have one variable. You just do the highest exponent to the lowest. Okay? So the highest exponent here is a square, so we'll do the squares first. Okay? So 30x squared minus 36x squared is negative 6x squared. Then we'll look, the next one is a 1, or exponent of 1. And so you have negative 10x minus 12x. Negative 10 minus 12, they're the same sign, so we'll add the numbers, so you get negative 22x. And then lastly, let's do that in red. You have negative 72 plus 24. They're different signs, so you'll subtract, and that's 48. Okay, and it's negative because the 72 is bigger, and then this will be our final answer. Okay, so now we have this really big one. It's got no exponents on the it has no exponents on the outside of the parentheses, no numbers in front, but we do have the subtraction sign here, so we'll have to be mindful of that. It is my suggestion to you to go ahead and distribute that. A negative times a positive is a negative, so you'll get negative 34 x to the fourth. A negative times a positive is a negative 50 x squared. A negative times a negative is a positive 6x, and a negative times a positive is a negative 10. Okay? And so then this really just will drop down. The front one, if it doesn't have a number in front, will almost always just drop down with no problems or no changes or anything like that. And now it just becomes a combined like terms. Look for your highest exponent. You got x to the fourth is our highest. And so we have 14x to the fourth minus 34, and so that gives us negative 20x to the fourths. Okay? So then we look, we have to the thirds. Nothing else has a third on it, so then you'll just bring it down. Then we'll have, that's a 1, and then we have a 2 here, so we have that, but nothing else has an x squared on it, so that'll just come down. So now we've got 4, 3, 2. We go for the things that have a 1 on them, and that would be the negative x, and the positive 6, negative 8x, plus 6x gives us negative 2x. And then, last but not least, the things with 0 x's on them, negative 4 minus 10, they're same sign, so we add, and you get negative 14, or 10's bigger, so you know it's a negative. And then you'll know it's in descending because it goes 4, 3, 2, and then technically there's a 1, 0 for the x's. And this concludes our Objective 3 video for the Math 1 Unit 2 Study Guide. Please move on to Objective 4, the review section.